And I am live talking about Magazine Dreams, a movie that was made in 2023 and it actually came out last Friday. It's a sport drama that is actually similar to Ironclad from 2023 and Unstoppable from this year. So here we are. Let's go to the intro now. So, I really enjoyed that movie, but I will be honest there. I went to see it because Chillmonger, a good friend of the channel that came in many time on the Red Blue podcast, was like, you know what? I'm interested by Sinner and Magazine Dream and another animation thing there, but I wasn't that interested into the animated flick, so I'm like, you know what? Dream Magazine, let's look into it. And it's a bit unfortunate because not that many theater are playing that movie. It was actually really hard for me to find a representation, and I don't even know if it's on the digital platforms and such. Maybe it is, but I don't know. I like to support my theaters, and I feel like that movie is just a fun experience with a big screen. Um, I sound like these commercials there. But the Magazine Dream has so much to offer. It's a very fun flick. Now, in the intro, I kind of compared that to Iron Claw and Unstoppable. I do think Unstoppable and Iron Claw are better movies, but but Magazine Dream still has a lot to offer. It still has very interesting message and theme throughout the movie. Um, so that's the premise. That's what I think. Let's get into it. Let's get into Jonathan Major. Uh, Most recent movie. I don't know if we should call that recent because again, it's a movie that was made way back then, 2 years ago, and it just came out now. So we pick up with someone that really likes bodybuilding, and that person don't really have friends. That person is socially awkward, and it's hinted that maybe that person has a past of violence, and it's all interesting because he sees that psychologist that try to judge and consider him as someone that is able to be rehabilitated, if we can call it that way. Is that the right word? I don't think so. So the idea is he needs to overcome his anger issues. He needs to prove people in general that he is fit for society. He belongs in the street. Does he belong there? This is a great question there. And again, his entire life, his entire identity is a guy that wants bodybuilding. It's a guy that wants to be recognized. It's a guy that really wants to shine in that field, to be impressive. And is also a fan of a big bodybuilder person to a unhealthy point. Speaking of unhealthy, that movie also talks about unhealthy it can be a bodybuilder because you need to eat lots of food, but no sugar, no sugar. It's actually a good thing to not eat sugar. This I agree, but eating the tremendous amount of protein and food, wow. Um, it's also unhealthy because he uses steroids, and this is bad. That mess up really badly and hard his liver. Speaking of liver, um, he doesn't want surgery because he is a bodybuilder, and it's not pretty as Scar. So this movie is very interesting and it tackles bodybuilding in a very interesting way. Um, Again, I think it's a very fun movie. So let's do that full review now that we broke down what's the idea of that movie. I only had one issue with the entire movie, and again, maybe I'm crazy. Uh, I wish Chillmonger was around, but he has internet issues. Maybe he will show up at some point, but yeah. Um, my only issue would be pacing wasn't great in the last 30-ish minute. It feels like the same movie and story could have been 1 hour and 30 minutes to 1 hour and 45 minutes instead of 2 hours. It dragged on a lot, and it's a bit unfortunate and sad because some of the best scene happens in that last 30 minutes, but it just takes forever to get there, and it's not great. Like, I was really invested in the start of the movie. The first 30 minutes to an hour, I was very much invested, and there's that downtime in the middle where I was like, yeah, it started to get long, and I really felt it again in the last 30 minutes. uh, that movie could have been a bit shorter. And it's interesting because I think it's around the same runtime as the other two movies I mentioned, and the other two movies I mentioned didn't suffer that kind of issue. Um, so it's a bit unfortunate. It's a bit sad. Now, there's a lot of things to praise because that movie is rock solid. I had no regret watching it. It has so much substance. Thank you a lot, Shilmonger, for just mentioning that movie because I had no idea that movie would come out like March 21st. And I'm well aware of many movies that came out. I'm up to speed, up to date. So it's unfortunate that despite that, I didn't know that movie existed before Shilmonger mentioned it. Um, and before we really dive deep into further into the review, I must say that Jonathan Majors, incredible actor. That role he took on must have messed him up really badly because I believed in him. It was the perfect fit. It was a perfect match. It was a perfect cast. And to be this way in a tormented soul like that, man, life must be hard on you. So yeah, here are a few things I didn't note after watching that movie. Nice idea that the main character would be an incel because all society, uh, rewind, because of how socially awkward he was. He was an incel because he had no friends, no girlfriend. And when he went on a date, that was a disaster. And I will admit, the humor in that date was hilarious, peak humor. And it's sad because not only it's funny, but it's also sad at the same time. You feel sorry for the guy. He clearly doesn't know how to have a connection, how to talk to people. Like they have that date, and one of the first few things he revealed about himself to his date, keep in mind she barely knew the guy. He's like, yeah, my dad deleted my mom and he turned himself into how do I say it? Like the dad basically deleted the mom and deleted himself. And he says it like to his date within like 10 minutes of them meeting each other. And from now on, from that scene, the date is like, yeah, that guy is not well. That guy is not normal. And the acting there was priceless. So it was sad and funny at the same time. It's like, how can someone go on a date and overshare like that within like 10 minutes? Like, I could get it if they're in the middle of eating. That would still be weird. But like, wait until after you both did eat something, or wait a second day to reveal such a big bomb there. And you could tell the girl was not comfortable. And then she tried to get to know the guy, and the guy is starting to fanboy about that big bodybuilder guy he likes, and all he talks about is that big bodybuilder guy. And the date is like, man, that guy is a freak. So she goes to the bathroom to then leave him without really telling him. Uh, Tragic. And after that, there's a very sad moment when the main character realized he got stood up. When he realized his date left him like that, he goes on a self sabotage trip. He start eating a lot, and he start ordering fries, sugar, dessert, all the things he didn't order prior, all the things he was like, I don't eat that, but then he chose to eat that because it's self sabotage. It's he is in pain and he eats his emotion literally. Literally. That moment was one of the saddest part of the movie. Well, there's many instances in that movie where it's that sad, but that's one of the scenes where you're like, man, poor guy, a true incel, has no success with friendship or girls. It's tragic, really. And you cannot blame the girl because I mean he was the one who freaked. Anyway, um, number two, nice message about leaving legacies and overcoming generational trauma. Example, not ending up shooting others. Now I kind of spoiled the ending, but at that point I already spoiled a masterpiece of a scene with the restaurant and the date. So from now on, expect more spoiler. Sorry I didn't warn you before, but usually that's how we do on the channel. We just spoil the entire thing. I just forgot to mention it. But yeah, is that shot his mom? He did consider shooting the bodybuilder he adored, but he chose not to. So he kind of broke that generational trauma. He kind of broke that circle, and that's interesting. Number three, acting and music were great. I thought every scene with music, they thought about it. They were like, this is how the character feels. Let's pick that music, and that music will tell you how hardcore the guy is. And a good example would be him having big rock and roll in his car and dancing and doing weird stuff while he's parking for his date, or by the end when he plays the music as he humiliates one of the judges he met in the past. The music in that movie is well chosen. And if I remember correctly, I might be wrong, but at some point there's a second scene where he does self sabotage and he eats a lot of things in the fridge. If I remember correctly, I might be wrong, but if I remember correctly, there was music in that scene, and the music was great. Uh, Throughout the entire movie, the music is there, and sometimes there's no music, just add tension. Just add tension. That movie is just a very fun experience. So next, well depicted how the main character started off out of control and overly emotional, but by the end, it was more in control. And the biggest example would be the restaurant scene. Was very angry at the guy that beat him up and that ruined one of his showcase of bodybuilding. You could tell He wanted to smash that guy or to just end him right in front of the family. But he did show some restraint and control. He started talking to the kid. He didn't do any physical harm, but that scene was so uncomfortable and well made. The tension was very high. Um, that was peak entertainment. That movie has so much to offer. I will never praise it enough. Um, Number three, great showing over telling. Throughout the entire movie, there's so much that you need to see what's going on the screen to understand. The movie doesn't think you're stupid. The movie doesn't do exposition dump. The closest thing to an exposition dump was more of a character trait when the main character described uh, his love for bodybuilding and the bodybuilder that's super popular. That's the closest thing we had to an exposition dump. And it's more like to explain, look, the main character is a freak. He adores so much that star, that bodybuilder, that he is weird, and everything about him is about that bodybuilder. So again, very competent movie at showing. They show you things. They don't straight up tell you in your face he is a big fan. No, they will do it through dialogue, through exchange, through the way he acts around that person, through the way he acts around others. That movie is a visual experience, which is great. I want that more often. Now, next up would be competent writing of characters and well depicted how the main character became a liar when meeting the social worker. Early in the movie, he was honest and all, but after watching a few tips on how to become more likable, he realized people are lying, so he started lying as well. That was interesting. I liked it, and the acting and direction with the psychologist was golden because even her, she's like, "Yeah, you're full of crap. Don't lie to me like that." That was funny. That was fun. You're like, it's so sad that he lies, and it's so good that she knows he's lying, and they don't tell you that. It's you read the body language, you read what they say in between the lines. It's golden. I'm telling you, it's golden. Next up would be nice story about unhealthy and parasocial relationship with celebrities. And it's depicted through all of these letters the main character sends to that bodybuilder. And he's like, "You're my friend," and when others ask him about that bodybuilder, he's like, "He's my only friend." No, he's not. Like at some point they meet and he thought that was for friendship, but no, the guy just wanted to experience some bedroom fun with another guy, and he was discarded and used like that. And they tell you this without telling you because after that the main character tried to reach out again and no answer. And that's part of the character arc where the main character at some point realizes, wow, I'm being used. You're not really my friend. But it's interesting how a lot of people have that parasocial link with celebrities like that. It's priceless. It's great. Dream Magazine is competent at giving you a good experience. Made me feel things while watching. I did feel sad at many instances. The viewer experience what the lead experience. I won't say I did tear up, but that came close. There are some movies here and there that made me tear up in the past. That one is not one of them. I think Aaron Claw did make me tear up. So that's one of the many reasons why I think Aaron Claw is a better product. But still, I feel things while watching Magazine Dreams because the movie wants you to feel what the main character feels, and it's very good at doing that. Um, yeah. Next thing to mention, movie also states how unhealthy beauty standards can be. Eating a lot, refusing surgery. I kind of already said it, but I repeat it because that's in my notes. And wow, I oh my. There was a glitch there. Um, hopefully it works. That was very weird. For like 2 minutes, we had a glitch there. My computer kind of froze. It's about time I change. Uh, but yeah, I guess we will be like that for the rest of the stream. Oh my, that was really bad. That 2 minute glitch there. Um, anyway, what was I saying just before the crash? Uh, I said it movie was also uh, telling you how an LT beauty standard can be when you are in that industry. It's kind of tragic and sad. By the end of the final show and the apartment scene at the end, Andre built tension. Same goes for the restaurant when the lead created full chaos. Again, there are three scenes where there's a lot of tension, and that's the restaurant scene with the guy that beat him up. That's the apartment scene where the main character humiliates a judge, and lastly, the final show at the very end of the movie had a lot of tension. Um, so yeah, that movie is just fun. Overall, I adore Magazine Dreams. Other movie they did better, but that one still stand out. Um, yeah, I don't have a lot to say, unfortunately. I will give Dream Magazine a 9.7 out of 10. It's well deserved. It's a good movie. Will I rewatch? I don't know because I feel like on the first viewing I've seen everything I wanted to see, and that was a fun experience. But yeah, if you have seen it, what did you think of that movie? Let me know in the comments. And with this, we are out. Have a great one, and hopefully next time we don't have that weird glitch at the very end. See you next time.